Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Tuesday, March 7th, 2023 meeting of the Denton County Commissioners Court. At this time, I'd like to remind everybody to turn off your cell phones, and I'd like to welcome up Joan Mazza. She is here to lead us in our invocation, and our pledges will be led by Paul Slough with Senator Drew Springer's office. We're glad to have him here as well. So if you'll please stand.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Lord God, we exalt you today over this court in Denton County. We ask for your hand of favor to be upon us. We thank you for meeting the needs of this county, the judge, the commissioners, and every county worker. Guide their steps with wisdom, understanding, and love. Increase their capacity to see, hear, and speak over Denton County as watchmen on the wall. In this month of Purim, we are reminded that we are watchmen over this county. So we are grateful that we are here for such a time as this. I pray in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. All right, thank you.
You'll join me in the pledge of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the state of Texas. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, thank you, Joan, and thank you, Paul. All right, we do not have anyone registered for item 1 for public input for items not listed on the agenda, so we will go ahead and proceed to item 3, which is our resolutions, awards, reports, and presentations. We have several groups with us this morning. We're glad to have y'all here. At this time, I'd like to welcome up Pam Gutierrez with Denton County MHMR, and we'll go to item 3A, which is approval of a proclamation recognizing Developmental Disabilities Inclusion Month and any appropriate action. I know we have a resolution here, and if Pam and company from MHMR, if y'all would like to stand, I know if you want to, Pam, good morning. It's good to see you as always.
Good morning.
You got quite a crowd here, and I think that's great. We're glad to have our MHMR family with us. We're going to have to do a big picture right up here in just a second.
Jody.
Oh, yeah, wide angle lens is right. So let's go ahead, Pam, and make any introductory comments, and then we'll do a resolution, our proclamation.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I appreciate it so much. We're so happy to be here. Courtney is my administrator of individuals with developmental disabilities, and I'm going to let her speak on my behalf. She has something that she would like to say.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, my name is Courtney Carey. I am one of the administrators at Denton County MHMR. Thank you for recognizing March as Developmental Disability Awareness Month here in Denton County. Many citizens of our county are touched by someone who is living with a developmental or intellectual disability. The contributions these citizens make to our county and to us individually is immeasurable. Each day we interact, support, and care for these exceptional citizens, and for me, my life is better because I get the opportunity to be a part of their journey as they set and reach their goals. There's an estimated 500,000 Texans that have an intellectual or developmental disability. And while Texas has worked to make changes, so much still needs to be done to support our amazing neighbors. In Denton County alone, there is over 3,000 people waiting for state-funded comprehensive services and support, and that is out of the over 100,000 people waiting for those services. Last week, Pam went to Austin in support of Article 2, which did increase the state-supported living funding. However, we believe that community centers deserve the same consideration for increased funding as a state agency does. We continue to strive to support and work for integration for all people to make Denton County a better, more complete, and inclusive community. Orange is the official color of Developmental Disability Month, as we're all trying to wear our orange today.
Well, I wish I would have known.
Well, funny
Okay.
you should say
Okay,
that.
next year, Cheryl, write that down, remind us.
Funny you should say that. I do have pins for
Seriously.
each of you to wear.
Oh, good.
And I hope that you wear this pin as it serves as a reminder to you and anyone that sees it that we are all better when we are all valued as contributing members of this county and state. Your declaration will go a long way to help raise awareness and to foster conversations of inclusion and support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I bring this to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Commissioner Falconer wanted to be with us this morning, and he is under the weather, but he is watching and with us in spirit today, so I'll let you know that. Perfect. I'll go ahead and read this proclamation. This is a court proclamation regarding Developmental Disabilities Inclusion Month. And whereas individuals with developmental disabilities are valued contributing members of our community, and whereas collaboration, education, employment, and home and community-based services are vital to enable people with developmental disabilities to achieve a self-determined and valued lifestyle. And whereas with appropriate support, all people can be productive, engaging, and contributing members of the community. And whereas during the past 3 difficult years of the COVID-19 pandemic, opportunities for individuals with disabilities have been particularly affected. And whereas individuals, families, organizations, and advocates in our community are committed to supporting and empowering people with developmental disabilities as may be needed to live a life like other citizens of Denton County. And whereas Texas's communities thrive when inclusion becomes a way of life. Each year, we dedicate the month of March to raising awareness about developmental disabilities and emphasizing the importance of including people of all abilities in every aspect of our life. And whereas during this month, Texas can raise awareness how classrooms, workplaces, houses of worship, and communities are more vital when they include people of all abilities. And whereas at this time, we encourage Texans to come together to increase awareness about developmental disabilities and support full inclusion and equality for all. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Denton County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim March 2023 as Developmental Disabilities Inclusion Month and encourage all residents to recognize the tremendous value and potential of people with developmental disabilities and include them in all aspects of community life. Done in open court. This, March the 7th day of March 2023, upon a motion made by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? Well, Pam, I would love for you to mention y'all's hotline or any way that people who need your services at MHMR, I always want to use this time to promote your agency and the good work that y'all do. So if someone's watching this, how can they get in touch with you?
So right now, 988 is the number that individuals can call, similar to 211. So that is the number that is the easiest for individuals to get a hold of us. Anyone can dial that very, very quickly and get a hold of us at any point in time. And that is the preferred number for people to call. 1-800-762-0157 is another number that individuals can call, but 988 is so simple.
988.
And 988.
Perfect.
And that's the national hotline. Yes. And I wanted to take 1 minute. This is our board member, Diane Hickey.
Hello,
and I know
Diane.
you all know Diane.
Love
but she's
Diane.
here with us today. And all of these staff came out in support today for
Thank you.
individuals with developmental disabilities.
Thank you.
And they work so hard daily and care for these individuals. And when I went to Austin, I was there for 16 hours waiting to give testimony to get an increased rate for individuals that serve people that love people that have a developmental disability. It's so important to us.
Absolutely. We're critically low in state funding our mental health in this state, and that's something we continue to champion and partner with y'all and other agencies to increase the funding and take care of all of our residents, especially those with our dealing with mental issues along a very broad spectrum of mental health care. And I think it's important. That's one of the reasons we have proclamations such as today, is so that we are talking about it. We're talking about mental health, and that it's okay to talk about, and that we need all different kinds of issues people are dealing with. Everybody's dealing with something. Just may not know about it, may not visibly see it, but it's important that we focus on inclusion, and I think that's what we really want to emphasize here today. Members, do y'all want to add any comments? Commissioner Mitchell?
I just want to thank you all again for the inclusion, including everyone. We're all God's children. We all bring something to the table. I may not bring what you bring. You may not bring what I bring, but when we put it all together, we can make a salad. And I think we need to continue to get the message out that Denton County is open to all people, as everywhere should be. So I want to thank you, Pam, again, for all the work that you've done and all your staff members. You can't do it by yourself. And I want to thank you for all these years of service that you've given to Denton County and our citizens, that some of them can't help themselves and they don't have someone to advocate for them. So thank you for advocating for our citizens. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Ms. Bobby. And it's because of these people. It's
Yes.
not because of us, because of me. It's because of them and their hard work that they do.
Yes,
They tirelessly work every day.
Absolutely.
And the wages have got to be increased.
yes.
They're
agree.
incredible. It's not because of me. It's because of these people behind me.
Pam,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, I echo what Bobby has just said, and we have a young lady over here who needs to come be with the group, because we're going to take a picture. You're standing, are you one of the staff members? That's
She'll
okay,
come
we're gonna
join us
take
for
a
the big picture.
So just be sure to come for that. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate what you do. And I think not enough people understand the need for these kind of services, unless they have a personal connection
That's exactly it.
to someone who has a developmental disability. So I will be happy to put this in my next newsletter and let everybody
Thank
know
you.
about 988. And it's something that we have an obligation to our fellow man and women. And so thank you for what you're doing. You're great examples, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much.
I want to give just a little testimonial here. A couple weeks ago, I had a constituent contact me about needing some help for their family member, and they were in a very much of a crisis situation. And I said, okay, let me tell you, this is what we're going to do. I reached out to y'all's department and made the connection for them to meet with your caseworker, and they were in a very tough situation, and with a family member. And the feedback I got later that day was just unbelievable. And they said, oh my gosh, are they being nice to us because Judge Eads called and opened the door and helped set it up? And I said, contraire, they treat everybody that very exact same way. And I know that to be true. And it's not, y'all are no respecter of persons. Y'all treat everybody equally and welcoming them into your family and of service. And I just want to thank y'all that I had the confidence to refer y'all to that individual who's in very much a bad way. And y'all just met them right where they needed to be met, and loved on them and helped them and gave them the assistance that they needed, and really fundamentally helped change what the operations of that family, what they were dealing with. And I had the other night, on a Saturday night, I had about 1:50 in the morning. I was doing emails, believe it or not. Y'all would believe it. I was doing emails, and I got an email from a resident who was in a very bad way about a family member, and I emailed right back with y'all's suicide hotline and so forth, and I knew that a friendly voice was going to answer that phone at 2 o'clock in the morning and help get that family the care they need. And so I tell those stories because I encourage people to reach out. And it's very important that we take care of one another. We're all in this together. And I just really appreciate the staff. And Diane, I appreciate all your service, your years of service on the board. You're such a champion. And you reached out to me during COVID to check on my mental health. And I appreciate that. She made masks, homemade custom masks. We couldn't find any. She made some for our family. I'll never, always remember that. Diane, you're such a sweetheart. But anyway, thank y'all for everything y'all do in the past and the present. I know y'all continue to do this in the future. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments?
Judge, could I
Yes,
make one
ma'am.
quick
Yes,
comment?
please.
I think what you've just said illustrates what I believe is one of the greatest roles of any of our county commissioners, and that is to be a connector.
Yes.
When somebody needs something, whether it's about a pothole, whether it's about a family crisis, whatever, they can call a county commissioner, and we know who to connect them with. We don't have all the answers personally, but we know who to send them to. So thank you, Judge.
That's
for
right.
what you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an important function. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Were we supposed to look up?
I can't believe you've been doing this all these years. All right, bye, sweetie. We have to. Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're all on board with it.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you. I'm doing wonderful, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, was there an unresolved issue there? Oh. Oh, okay, then we need to tag up. We need to, we need to talk about several things, actually. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. All right, next is item 3B. This is approval of a proclamation recognizing the week of March the 6th through March the 10th, 2023 as Severe Weather Awareness Week. And we have our Director of Emergency Management, Eric Hutmacher, with us this morning. And I like to say the Jennifer Dunn from the National Weather Service. She's such a key partner with us. And good morning, Eric. Do you want to say anything before we get started?
Yes. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Thank you for your time this morning. And
Jennifer Dunn and I would like to just take a little bit of y'all's time and the court's time to discuss severe weather and why we do severe weather
If you'll
awareness
move that
week.
mic up, Eric,
And why we do severe weather awareness week.
and Bobby can maybe turn it up. Okay, very good. Go right ahead.
All right. So again, we'll just discuss quickly what emergency management is, what we do, and severe weather in North Texas, how we use teamwork as a way to achieve our objectives, and how we can have our Denton County residents prepare. So what is emergency management? Again, what we do is we coordinate resources, agencies, jurisdictions, everything that would be necessary to respond to a complex, expanding incident. So if you think back to Texas Motor Speedway, where we had multiple federal, state, and local jurisdictions, nonprofits, private sector, energy partners, and other folks that were involved, that is one of those situations where emergency management basically helps those masters of their craft, if you will, fire, police, public works, technology services, and everyone else. We help guide that team to that overall objective, which is going to set society back prior to the incident that made that disruption. So severe weather and emergency management, the way we define it, is any condition that poses a threat to life and property. And what we want to know, of course, about one of our most highest probability of threats, which is severe weather, is when it occurs, which is the next few months, and the time of day it occurs, which we have some more data to back that up here in a second. But it is late afternoon and evening when peak heating occurs throughout the day. So lightning. This is a tricky one because it doesn't always come with a severe warned storm or a tornado warned storm. And so you'll see during especially the summer months that we will be communicating with the public along with the National Weather Service that we may have folks out on our lakes or pools or just out having a barbecue, but it's not a severe warned storm. However, there is lightning, and lightning of course is deadly, and we want to make sure that again the residents have the information they need to make those safe decisions. So typically we'll say, although it's not a severe warned storm, you might want to head indoors until this threat passes. Hail. Well, hail is the reason why we have sometimes those homeowners insurance rates go up, right? Hail can be very destructive, and it can cause homes to be uninhabitable, which would trigger a sheltering operation, or it could impact infrastructure. So anything like power substations, water infrastructure, and then at the end of the day, in Texas, of course, that typically happens during the hotter months, so it can impact AC units as well, not only just for residential, but commercial storage units as well. And straight line winds. As we saw last week, straight line winds are extremely destructive, and they are unfortunately hard to detect. So I was actually going to have Jennifer Dunn discuss real quickly on some of the things we've been doing to stay ahead of this threat, because it is, well, you know, so hard to detect until it's, well, we see the actual damage reports coming.
Damage that's happening, absolutely. So straight line winds along with hail are two of the most common types of severe weather that we experience here in North Texas. And the radar tool that we have is great at measuring the wind speeds in there, along with the automated weather stations that we have on the ground. But the radar, of course, is sampling up in the clouds themselves. So finding out what type of winds actually make it down to the surface is why we rely on storm spotters and our partners to tell us what was damaged in that. The thing about straight line winds is a lot of people tend to think it's not as bad or severe as a tornado, but in reality, when you're talking about 70+ mile-per-hour winds, that's the same as what can occur in a tornado. So it's the same amount of damage that can occur, same type of damage. So we want residents to still take action and take shelter whenever there is a straight line wind threat, because the type of damage that can occur can be the same as what we experience in tornadoes, which thankfully we don't always necessarily have too common here. It's the straight line winds that we really want people to be prepared for and take shelter for.
Thank you. And again, you know, there's many facets to straight line winds that can cause damage. You know, manufactured homes, special events, anything outdoors is really going to be one of the things that we'll be looking out for during these weather events. So next threat that we'll go over real quick is floods. And I'll just remind everybody that these pictures are all from Denton County. So these are impacts that we've actually sustained within Denton County. A flood is the second deadliest weather phenomenon in the National Weather Service tracking of that data. And what we've seen is not only does it create fatalities, but it creates a lot of destruction and impassable roadways, which impacts, you know, our first responders and EMS services. But also it can wash out public, utilities, right? Our lift stations, our power infrastructure, as well as our roadways and bridgeways. So those are the things that we'll be monitoring. We do have full lake reservoirs. We are just beginning spring season, and we are transitioning into an El Nino weather pattern, which means wetter and more precipitation may be in the forecast. Again, as you can see, we have our weather fatalities, flooding being the second highest one. And now moving on to tornado risk. So that's the one, of course, that we're always looking out for during any severe weather system. And unfortunately, North Texas seems to be, well, just at the higher end of that risk scale. So as you can see by the FEMA National Risk Index. There's the historical paths of all the tornadoes that have occurred in Denton County. Again, you can see that there's been an EF3 to all the way to an EF0, and this does not account for those straight line wind impacts. So going back to knowing that we have a severe weather threat, we'd like to know exactly the highest probability of when it could occur, which is going to be the next 3 months, hence the reason why we have Severe Weather Awareness Week at the beginning of March. And you can also see that with the National Weather Service's data, that it occurs most likely, it can occur all year, all day, but most likely is going to be mid-afternoon to late evening. The problem with that is we have kids coming home from school, we have people coming home from work, folks running out to the grocery store, grabbing dinner, diapers, you name it, it's all happening. And so making sure that we stay on a proactive approach, communicating with our public and making sure they know, no matter where they're at, how to shelter interior windowless rooms, et cetera, that is something that we take a very proactive approach on. That is the last tornado that we had in Denton County. It was an EF1, and we had several homes that were impacted, basically uninhabitable, so we worked to find them shelter. But that was the last one that we had in 2019. So the difference between a watch and a warning. A watch is the conditions and ingredients are present for severe weather or tornadoes and severe thunderstorms for those watches. But the warning is that those ingredients have come together to create an active threat. So the way I remember it is when my mom growing up would tell me to watch out, I was like, okay, I got a couple of, I got some grace. And then if it was a warning, it was, okay, there's a reprimand.
She used your middle name.
Yes, exactly. So that's the way I like to remember it. We are a storm-ready community, and what that means is that we take a proactive approach with not only our residents, but our employees, county leadership, and all of our partners throughout our volunteer agencies as well. And what's occurring inside the Denton County Emergency Operations Center during severe storms? Well, we activate prior to the storm's arrival. We are monitoring and communicating with the National Weather Service, telling them what we're seeing, and of course communicating with our storm spotters, and they will let us know what they're concerned about. We'll let them know some of the impacts we're observing on the ground, and of course we are in communication with leadership, employees, and Denton County residents, passing along that information to make sure that everyone has the latest intel, if you will, to make those safe decisions. Outside of the Emergency Operations Center, we can assist our local jurisdictions that are either having special events or maybe just a bad day and just need a little bit of support and guidance. So we will support our local jurisdictions, especially during those special events that we are starting to see post-COVID. So we will post up and make sure that we are in communication with the National Weather Service, that resources are at the ready in the event that there should be any action taken. And again, another outside of the Emergency Operations Center is damage assessments. We had a damage assessment that was basically implemented last Thursday due to the straight line winds from our severe weather event. And we found damage all across the county due to straight line winds and extensive damage, of course, at Lake Louisville. So after the storm, what we will do is we will have those damage assessments. We will ascertain who's impacted, how many, and what needs are there. So there could be sheltering, there could be mutual aid recovery centers, as we like to call them, and that is, so you've built a kit, but now it's in the county over because you've been hit by a tornado. Well, then we make sure that folks have everything they need to make it through this next few days until we can find a more permanent solution. So those are actually pictures from the Garland-Rowlett tornado when we were responding to that. And how do we do all this? We do it with our community partnerships. That's working with our local jurisdictions, our nonprofits, our CERT team, who was activated last Thursday for the damage assessments, and also our Denton County Amateur Radio Association, who does our Storm Spotter program. And they are, paramount, probably, I will just say, I'm a little biased, but I think they're the best. And they are in constant communication with us, the National Weather Service, passing along that real world intelligence that we're seeing that connects with the radar intelligence that the National Weather Service is seeing. And then also we have our volunteer organizations active in disasters, which is going to be our, everyone from Red Cross to United Way. And what they help us do is they're the tip of the spear for that humanitarian response for some of those pictures you just saw, helping out folks on their worst day. So we can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. I have a wonderful team. They're sitting right over there. And you can see that we have, we do have multiple, I guess functions is probably the best way to put it, for our positions. And our latest one, Lauren Burt, is our Critical Resources and Key Infrastructure Officer, who's gonna help us with some unfunded mandates at the state and federal levels to make sure that we kind of keep the lights on, the water going, those sorts of things. And we just want to stress that you need to have multiple ways to stay weather aware. No one tool does that for you just through and through. So what we encourage folks to do is to follow us on Twitter and Facebook so we can push the latest information for storm threats. And throughout this week, we'll have some helpful tips and tricks to prepare for severe weather. And again, making sure that you have, there's the old school way of the National Weather Service radio. And there's also, of course, more modern ways that you can get it delivered to your phone. Your favorite weather app is always a good one. And just go onto any app store or Android store and you'll be able to find an application that works for you on your mobile device. And of course, at the end of the day, we want you to register for the Denton County Emergency Notification System, and it delivers all warnings and information conveniently to your mobile device. And what can Denton County residents do to prepare for a severe weather season? Build a kit for your home, work, or vehicle. These don't have to be complex or very costly. Something just that'll get you through the night. So an extra change of clothes, shaving kit, deodorant, those types of things that'll just kind of get you through, get you home sometimes for that vehicle kit, and for the home, it just kind of get you if you have to stay at a friend's house or something like that due to any impacts that you receive from severe weather. Communications plan. Sometimes cell phone towers go down. They can be on high usage, or they can be destroyed due to severe weather. So what can you do and speak to your friends and loved ones if communications plans are not available? Then where would you reunify? And then the recovery plan. Do you have enough savings for deductibles, or do you have an idea of where you would stay if your home was uninhabitable? I know a lot of folks had to stay other places during Winter Storm of 2021. Sometimes going back to those old ways that worked for you in the past are the best ways to move forward. And at the end of the day, we are here for you, so just reach out to your friendly Office of Emergency Management. We're always here to help.
It is a friendly office.
Thank you.
Eric, would you briefly explain for the public the difference between the 1950s technology of the tornado sirens that people say, well, I didn't hear the siren. Well, it's because you live in a fully insulated home, and it's not designed for that. So would you explain to the public why they do not need to have a reliance on those? And they say, well, I don't have one in my community. We have a lot of people living in the unincorporated part of the county who may not have those. And I think there's a false sense of protection that people may have, or if they live right next to one, that they need to rely on that at 3 o'clock in the morning inside their house, and explain why we encourage them to sign up for on their device.
Of course. I'll say a few words and then let the National Weather Service, Jennifer Dunn, chime in on that as well, because we work together on that. The outdoor warning systems are designed for folks who are outside. That's the primary audience.
That's the first sentence.
Outdoor, it's in the acronym, OWS, it's outdoor. And of course, outdoors is fun. That's where we have, a lot of, activities. And that's why they are implemented, is because we will use them for special events that are occurring outdoors, but also they'll be centered around parks and outdoor areas. And the intended audience is for the folks that are outdoors enjoying their time out there to hear the siren and then know that they now need to move indoors and seek shelter in those interior windowless rooms, because there is an active threat and they are triggered by the warnings from the National Weather Service, which I'll let Jennifer Dunn talk about their part.
Yeah, the outdoor warning sirens, Eric summed it up pretty well already, but we really just want people who are outdoors to move inside and seek more information. it should not be your last line of defense of knowing that there's hazardous or severe weather coming into the area. There's a lot of additional technology that we have to keep everybody inside alerted and up to date also, including the Denton County Emergency Mass Notification System, which I can attest works very well. As a resident of Denton County, I'm signed up for it too, and I get those timely alerts at all times of the day and night delivered directly to my mobile device that can wake me up, along with NOAA weather radio as well. So outdoor warning sirens, again, should be your last line of defense. Basically, you shouldn't be relying on it if you're inside. It is designed for outdoors. Have people get inside and seek more information from their trusted weather sources, which could be at the county or the meteorology level, depending on who you like the best. But hopefully it's Denton County.
Perfect. Good. I think that's great. Well, thank you all for what you do. And last week when we had that threat of severe weather, and we did have severe weather, I was up here and in our Emergency Operations Center watching firsthand the great job that our staff did. But I also want to give and there they are over there, hello. But I also, let's have y'all stand up, let's give them a big hand, for they were working long hours the other night. But I also want to give a big shout out to the volunteers. So our staff was here working, and at about 7:30, I was just looking at my pictures of how many people did we have roughly. We had about a dozen CERT volunteers come up, and Brenda mobilized them and called them and activated them, and they showed up, all in their neon yellow vests and raincoats and so forth, to go out that night and do assessments. And they had divided, it was amazing to watch them in a very professional and organized manner divide up the county into different teams, and they figured out where we had reports of damage, and then they were dispatched out. And so it really is a community effort, as Jennifer was saying, because it's our partners, the National Weather Service, the county, working with our local jurisdictions, and then our wonderful team here, and also the volunteers. So that was a key component. I also want to take a moment to thank Jody for all your years of advocacy to staff up this department and make it a priority. This court and previous courts have been very supportive and created positions and the funding available to have us a state-of-the-art. We're one of the largest counties in Texas, one of the largest counties in the U.S., and that we really treat emergency management as a real priority, not an afterthought. And so I want to thank you, Jody, for your leadership, and the court for sharing our vision to be one of the most prepared county in the state of Texas. So with that, members, do you have any comments? Commissioner Edmondson.
Hi. Thank you all so much for what you do. I have to tell you, we'll see something on TV and my husband will say, look and see what the county says. He wants to know what your assessments are because we find them to be more accurate. And so really, really do appreciate that. And Dawn, I know you're probably already going to get a copy of their presentation so I can take some of those slides for my newsletter. But thank you all so very, very much. We had a neighbor who literally walked across the street to lend me a coffee pot, and at that moment, that whoosh, there had been no wind, and we heard this horrible sound, and I heard my neighbor saying, oh no, oh no, oh no. And he really was almost blown over on our front porch by carrying a coffee pot by that wind that had to be 70 whatever miles an hour. I've never seen anything like that. It came up just like that. And so thanks for all you do, and we're so proud of all of you. And thank you, national as well as county. We appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and read this. Members, any other comments? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This is a court proclamation regarding Severe Weather Awareness Week. And whereas storms can strike at any time of the year, the months of March, April, and May have the greatest potential for violent weather events. And whereas violent weather events may include damaging thunderstorms, hailstorms, straight-line winds, tornadoes, and flooding. And whereas the lives and property of all Denton County residents is this court's utmost concern. And whereas between 1955 and 2023, there were 51 reported tornadoes within Denton County. Whereas planning and preparation and evacuation as designated can greatly reduce the negative outcomes of severe weather impact. And whereas a community, Denton County can proactively work together to ensure the safety and property of our people. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Denton County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim the week of March 6th through the 10th, 2023 as Severe Weather Awareness Week in Denton County. We call upon all citizens to designate a safe place for family members to meet in person. In case of evacuation, decide how to maintain communication with loved ones and put together a preparedness kit of important documents and supplies. Most importantly, we call upon all citizens to heed warnings and instructions issued by local, county, and state officials and emergency management personnel. We encourage all residents to remain mindful of the dangers presented by severe storms, stay informed of current weather conditions, and take precautions to prevent loss of life and property. Done in open court, this is the 7th day of March 2023 upon a motion by the chair. Second by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you. Let's do a picture here. Thank you.
I know, it's been such a long time.
I think we could do it in front here. In front? Okay. Let's get up here. All right.
Nope, you're good. I'll figure it out. It's never a problem.
Just sticking behind. Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. I'm ready. Okay. Good, very good. Thanks, good job, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
See y'all later.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's cool.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great point, Commissioner. Yeah, so many departments respond, not just our emergency management during a weather event. Our road and bridge crews are out. Tina and her people are on the phones, and the facilities are out. I mean, there's so many different departments that are out responding, and that's a very good point. So it's really as a county initiative. So thank you. Thanks for everybody for all their good works. All right, next let's go to item 3C, approval of a proclamation recognizing March 2023 as Nutrition Month in any appropriate action. I believe we have Juan here. I don't know who all you have with you. Is it just you, Juan? Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having us this morning. We appreciate you bringing awareness to this important topic. Really, I'm just here to introduce Kathy Oliver. She's our Director of WIC, WIC standing for Women, Infants, and Children. So she'll provide more details about the great staff we have and the services we do to our needy families here. So perfect. Kathy Oliver.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love to talk about WIC. I have done WIC a long time, not always in Texas, but I have done WIC for 34 years. Wow. So WIC is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And why it is so near and dear to my heart is that WIC touches, and healthy nutrition touches, the most vulnerable population, unborn babies, newborns, and children up to the age of 5. And one thing that makes WIC very different than other programs is that we have the pleasure of forming relationships with our family. Children can stay on WIC through the age of 5. So we meet a parent during her pregnancy, and we stay with that family, or actually they stay with us. It's a pleasure when they do. They stay with us for 5 years. And if you've been in it a long time, like many of our staff have been, you get to see the next generation. And that is truly a gift. And WIC, many people don't realize, does more than just supply a healthy food package. And to refresh your memory, WIC supplies very specific foods in specific quantities that supply specific nutrients. And those are key nutrients that many individuals in the population will miss. For example, calcium, iron. It's easy to skip some of those nutrients, so WIC supplies foods that supply those. WIC also provides referrals to community resources. Commissioner Edmondson was talking about we may not have the answer, but we know where you can get it. So WIC is a wonderful referral source for many different things. For example, what do I do with the formula shortage? Where can I buy the formula? What do I do about this? What do I do about that? We might not have the answer, but we sure do know how you can find it. Another thing that WIC supplies is breastfeeding assistance. And over time, what I have come to realize is that a mother's desire to mother her baby, whether by breastfeeding or bottle feeding, is very integral to her feeling of success as a parent. And so we offer breastfeeding assistance. We too have a hotline that you can call around the clock for breastfeeding assistance. And we know that breastfeeding impacts health through a lifetime. And so what I like to remind my staff is that although, it's a Tuesday in March, what we're really doing is shaping the future. And that is a gift, truly a gift. To let you know who is behind the scenes doing the work, we have 2 international board-certified lactation consultants, and that's a long name for a specialist that is an expert in breastfeeding. We have a registered dietitian for those clinical nutrition questions. We have 3 breastfeeding peer counselors to help the mother actually hands-on with breastfeeding and give her the support she needs. And we have nutritionists that answer questions like, what do I do? My child will only eat mac and cheese and chicken McNuggets. And although that sounds like, don't we all, aren't there bigger problems? Well, for that mother who's trying to get her child to eat spinach, it's a big deal. And we provide, what do you do with a child like that? Well, we have plenty of tricks up our sleeves to help with that kind of thing. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for letting me be the county WIC director. I love working for the county and I love WIC, and it is an honor to serve the people. And just to tell you my professional prize is that many years ago I was in Walmart on a Friday night, and actually I was hoping to not get recognized. And the lady, the lady standing behind me in line, I recognized her immediately as a WIC participant. And she spoke Spanish, and I only speak English, but I got her message, and she called her children over and lined them up for me to see that, this is what you helped me do. And I got tears in my eyes. And what a gift that is, and thank you. Thank you for supporting WIC. Thank you for supporting our staff.
I think the thank you is all ours. Yeah. So thank you for what you do. Come on.
I would love to have you, Commissioner Mitchell.
You're so exciting.
I really, really, really love WIC.
Well, it's a great program. Growing strong families here in Denton County. Growing strong families.
I love to see people excited about their job. And
I do too.
Well, that's why it's successful.
Yes.
That's why she's successful.
Juan, did you have any comments? No.
That's a hard follow-up, isn't it?
I was about to say.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much again for having us, and I appreciate Kathy and her staff. They really do dedicate themselves to this service, and there's very needy families that benefit so much from this, so we appreciate you all so much.
So let's talk about where people can find us. Where can they go to the WIC offices? I know we have them around the county, so if you go ahead and explain that for the viewing audience.
Well, yes, we do. We have 3 offices in Denton County. We have one here in Denton. We have one in Louisville, right off of Main Street. And we also have one in Carrollton at Frankfurt and Old Denton Road. So we span the county. Individuals can call any of those clinics, but really the easiest thing to do is go to www.texaswic.org. And when you fall on that homepage, at the bottom of the page will be an Apply Now button. And if the person will put in their name and contact information, we actually will give them a call or a text if they prefer, and invite them to get onto the program. That's really the easiest way.
Perfect, good, thank you. Good.
Thank you so much.
All right.
You're welcome.
This is a court proclamation regarding Nutrition Month in Denton County. Whereas food is the substance by which life is sustained, the availability, type, quality, and amount of food consumed each day play a vital role in the overall health of our community. And whereas increasing nutritious food access and consumption, as well as promoting an equitable food environment, is important for the health of our community. And whereas there is a need for nutrition education and a wide-scale effort to enhance healthy eating habits, National Nutrition Month is an annual campaign created by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And whereas the campaign, celebrated each March, focuses on the importance of making informed food choices, developing balanced eating, and reinforcing physical activity habits. And whereas Denton County provides nutrition services to its community members through the Denton County Women, Infants, and Children WIC program, providing support and inspiration to eat well, have a healthy pregnancy, breastfeed successfully, and raise amazing kids. And whereas Nutrition Month is an opportunity for the Denton County community to support habits to help families grow and stay healthy through every stage of life. Now, therefore, the Denton County Commissioners Court does hereby declare the month of March as Nutrition Month in Denton County, done in open court the 7th day of March 2023 upon a motion made by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any other comments? Well, I'll tell you the necessity of food access, as this proclamation mentions, really brought it home the last few years with COVID, as we're dealing with food access at our dozens of food pantries. And I know that's not what y'all deal with, but as you think about food access and all the different ways that we are working to provide access, and I want to thank Dawn Cobb for all her efforts with increasing our food access to our other partners in the food realm. I just really want to thank you, Dawn, and I know Commissioner Mitchell's it's been a real labor of love with her as well, and as we've just worked to increase access across our county and across our population. So many people are working, but they may be underemployed, and because they're underemployed and due to underemployment and inflation, especially with commodities and food prices, there's a real gap there, and I was glad that we were able to help in those matters.
And Judge Teresa and
Your mic's off.
I'm sorry, Keith and Cassandra has been providing the fresh fruit and vegetables for these kids, and like me, most kids want to just eat the starch. But if we can provide them with fresh fruit and vegetables, they'll try it, and they may try it and don't like it, but later on in life, they'll go back to that. So if we can plant that seed right then, that this is what's good for you, then later on, they'll come back and say, oh, that is pretty good. So I have to get off of caramel frappes. That's my weakness. That's my macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets is my caramel frappes. But I think it's wonderful that the job you do, and like I said, you provide a wonderful, I know, environment for people to come in and get assistance because of your attitude, and that makes it wonderful for families when they come in and they see somebody that's happy and not somebody that's sad and acting like they have to help you. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And like I said, maybe my next job will be coming to work for you. so I can have fun, because I like to have fun also, taking care of people.
Perfect, good. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Oh, okay, you don't, that's right. You moved down there.
Thank you, ma'am, for what you do. Do a wonderful job. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm supposed to come over and visit.
You are welcome anytime.
They moved to the new building for Andrew.
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of like I'm on an island by myself. It's all by myself.
I forgot they moved to the new building.
I prefer.
Ma'am?
I forgot they moved to the new building. Out of the,
Yep. All right, Peggy. All right, we're going to move forward in our agenda to honor the time of one of our special guests. I'd like to go to item 14E. 14E is the acceptance of a donation of a 1927 Model T Coupe automobile, black exterior and interior, by Eugenia King in memory of her husband, Dr. William F. King of Denton, Texas, right here in Denton County. And I'll tell y'all, we went out yesterday to the King home. It's good to see you again, Mrs. King.
Glad I could be here.
I have had the privilege of knowing the Kings for many years and was on some historic committees or historic preservation committees with Dr. King and got the true honor to get to know him and learn about his Model T collection. He has a couple of them, and the unique history of this particular car as it relates to the city of Denton, as it's really spent its life here in the city of Denton, right here in Denton County. And recently Dr. King passed away, and Mrs. King, we're sorry for your loss. Please accept our condolences today. But Mrs. King had such a spirit of generosity to share with Denton County as part of our permanent collection this donation of this Model T, and we're so excited. And Peggy, would you like to make some comments before Mrs. King?
Yes, and
Let's pull the microphone over. Right there.
Mrs. King, Eugenia, I've known her ever since, I guess, I've been in Denton with Denton County, and as well as Dr. King. And he was so gracious and so full of history, and I think that we all need to remember, and this is kind of appropriate, this month is Women's History Month. Well, this car was driven by a woman physician in Denton. She made her house calls in it, Dr. Rebecca Evans. So this car is a little more special than other Model Ts. And so that story will live on through this artifact that was so graciously given to us yesterday. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the stories that Dr. King talked about with this car? oh goodness, we haven't had it so long.
Whoops.
Ms. King, tell us about when how Dr. King received the car from Dr. Evans.
Dr. Evans graduated from
Northwestern Medical School in Chicago, as my husband did. I didn't know that for many years. I didn't make that connection. But she called this her spare. And it was still running, and I don't know why she didn't drive it, but she got another Model T, which she called a Model A.
Yes.
But the Model T stayed in the garage until Bill was a junior in high school, right after World War I, World War II. And he went to her home and asked if she would like to sell him the car that she was driving. I think she had had a stroke and was not driving it at the time. She said, "Oh, no, Billy, I'm going to drive that car again, but I have a spare in the garage that I will give you if you'll do errands for me on Saturday." So he went to the garage, and there was this little gray 1927 coupe, no gasoline, no water, no oil. And so they had the black man from Foxworth Galbraith came over and put all the necessary things together, and they drove it home. And that was 1945. And what else am I supposed to say?
And he worked for her for several. He worked for her for several years.
He did work, helped her out during that time. There's probably a million more stories about this, the car that we're going to be pushing out there.
Yeah.
I do want to recognize our folks who helped us get this. Eric, you were great in coordinating all. It took a lot of people because this car cannot be towed. It has to be put on a flatbed trailer. So we had facilities, we had vehicle maintenance, we had probably road and bridge. We had a lot of people, and I think it was a lot of fun. I didn't see you there, Jody, because I thought you wanted to maybe drive the car.
Later,
yes, but I think the judge gets to drive it first.
Well, Mrs. King, I want to thank you for being a good steward of this artifact. I've had it since 1945, 46. I think we were talking about that yesterday. So y'all have had it a lifetime in the King family.
It's been in 3 different states and back here in Texas, and I think it needs to stay in Denton.
Absolutely. The fact that it was a Denton car to not one, but 2 notable medical doctors here in the county, and I think that's great, and we'll be able to preserve the history of their life and times through preserving the history of this car and preserving this artifact. And I just want to truly thank you for your generosity. You could have sold this and had the proceeds from an auction or a sale, but the fact that you were generous enough and thoughtful enough to entrust this artifact to the county, I just really want to say thank you. And I encourage other people who may be watching to do as Mrs. King, as you're making decisions about where things should go in your life that you've accumulated and you've loved and enjoyed. Consider our Office of History and Culture here. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of artifacts that we've collected over many decades. And we preserve those and catalog those and archive those and take good care of it. And I promise we'll continue to be a good steward of this Model T. Have an interesting fact, there was 15 million Model Ts produced. 15 million. And it was the most produced car in the history of automobile production until 1972 when it was surpassed by the Volkswagen Beetle. But the Model Ts were made from 1908 to 1927, and so this is a 1927. It was a partial year production. It only went to May the 26th of 1927 is when they stopped the Model T production. And this is a 27 model, so it's even more rare. But there's 15 million made, and they sold for, y'all ready for this? $360. So, and isn't that great? And so in that partial year production, there was 399,000 made in 1927. And so we have this one, but it's really, it's just going to be great that we preserve this, this artifact. And then I promise you, not only will we preserve it, but we're going to display it and enjoy it like we talked about yesterday. It's going to be in parades and other special events here at the county so that its story of these two doctors that met here in Denton, how they got to know one another, and how it's neat how Dr. Evans gave it to Dr. King, and then now y'all are giving it to us. And so I think it truly has this.
And I'll find you some drivers.
Perfect. Good.
You cannot drive it.
We'll see.
We'll give him lessons.
Right.
So it was great. It was great. So, Mrs. King, do you have anything else to add?
What'd you
Do
say?
you have anything else to add? Do you want to say anything else?
Oh, I guess not. I'm just glad that it stayed here in Denton. I could have sold it.
Yeah.
We belong to an old car club in Dallas
Yes.
with over 100 members,
Yes.
and they would have bought it, and a man from Dallas wanted to buy it, but you got it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mrs. King went on her second date with the future Dr. King in
Right.
this very car.
Right.
They went on their date. And she was telling us how he would do a carpool and pick up 3 pretty young ladies, and all 4 of them would get in the front seat of that Model T, and he would take them to school. So lots of fun stories. And that's a little front seat.
Yeah.
For 2 people.
Yeah.
Much less 4. So anyway, lots of fun memories, and we did an oral history there yesterday. Some of those pictures are of me doing a brief oral history on site with her, and then Peggy will do some more oral histories about it. So anyway, well, the chair will move for approval of the acceptance of this wonderful donation to our collection.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mrs. King. Let's go. Yeah, let's do a picture with it. Absolutely.
So right here, Mrs.
We're so excited about this. Yeah, good. Did you see the pictures? Did you see the pictures?
I did,
Yeah, Peg, get in.
I wish you hadn't put that one in there.
Which one?
That one, no.
Oh. Lynn's part of our, Lynn's part of our Historic Commission. We're going to have Lynn Yeargin join us. She's on our Denton County Historic Commission.
Hey, I know you.
Remember me or
Yes,
not.
I do. I remember you.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
Well, I'm glad to do it. I'm glad it's gonna stay here in
Yes,
Denton.
I am too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful story.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're very
Thank you so much. We really appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
How have you been?
Okay, just fine.
You look great.
Just busy. Pictures
It's not a
and
survivor.
articles from the newspaper, just
It'd be hard to tell. Yeah.
and nobody put them on them after I'm gone, you know? No.
This was so generous of you.
I've got everything from the little deal in Los
Yeah, and that's okay.
It's a new paint job.
Yeah, exactly.
and they're not gonna want anything else.
Thank you so very much. Bill would have loved this, wouldn't he? Bill would have loved this. Oh, yeah. We'd had a party, another party.
Many years ago.
Wow. Fun times. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning, y'all. Shall we? This was a good morning, though. Lots of good stuff happening. Good morning. Lots of good people. All right, let's go to item 2, our consent agenda. Members, are there any items you'd like to pull? Do we have a motion for approval? Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our consent agenda today consists of item 2A, which is our approval or order making appointments and any appropriate action, and item 2B is approval of the interdepartmental transfers and any appropriate action. Let's go to item 5A, approval of the bill report, payments from CSCD, Community Corrections, TAIP, Sheriff's Training, Sheriff's Forfeiture, VIT interest, and the forfeiture funds are presented for recording purposes only. Mr. May.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I have 4 additions today. 3 of them are to Citibank. One's for $16,879.31. One to Citibank is for $172,949.90, and then one to Citibank for $1,445.05. And then I have a addition to Title Partners for $60,000 even.
Perfect, thank you. All right, do we have a motion for approval of an amended bill report? Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, under purchasing is item 6A, approval of specifications of authority to advertise ITB 23-2740 exterior lighting maintenance. Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 6B, approval of specifications of authority to advertise for RFP 23-2750 cost allocation plan and appointment of an evaluation committee to include Jeff May, County Auditor, Jacob Patton, Chief Assistant Auditor, and Lindsay Padron, Grant Accounting Manager. Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 7A, approval of budget amendment request 100900 for construction management to transfer $5,550 from technology software services to various line items to purchase a new office printer, ink cartridges, and logo shirts and hats for employees. Any appropriate action? The chair move for approval. Second by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 7B, approval of budget amendment request 100910 to roll over unspent funds from the fiscal year 2022 to fiscal year 2023 for the Hot Funds Tourism Grant. This is the 2020 and 2022 in the amount of $202,212. Chair move for approval. Second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I always want to say thank you to the city of Denton for their partnership with their hot funds. Next, let's go to item 8A, report from Human Resources regarding hiring actions of elected officials. This is presented for recording purposes only. Mr. Hernandez.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. We have 1 promotion in the county clerk, 1 new hire in juvenile probation, 1 new hire in the sheriff's office, 1 rehire in the sheriff's office, and 1 promotion in the sheriff's office. That's it.
Perfect, thank you. Next is item 8B, approval of reducing the remote access allowance for slot 012AL from $1,200 a year to $960 a year in any appropriate action. Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 8C, approval of eliminating 5 additional full-time detention officer 1 positions and the approval of creating 10 additional part-time detention officer 1 positions. Motion by Commissioner Edmondson. Chair will second. I will say that this is a continuation of our work with the Sheriff's Office and looking at new and different ways to attract and also retain Denton County detention officers, so that we're at a critical, very critical juncture in our staffing with the Sheriff's Office, not only here in Denton County, but it's actually a national trend that we're dealing with. And this is just one of our many steps that we're taking as a court to in partnership with the Sheriff's Office. Do we have any comments, Commissioner
Yeah,
Mitchell?
some of these gonna be 24 hours, I understand. Did I understand it right?
These are
Why
the
they're
part-time
going-
positions.
Yeah, they're part-time, but
These are
some of
creating
them
part-time
can work
positions with
24 hours, yeah.
flexibility.
Yeah.
So hopefully we attract some people who want to work part-time, you know, or maybe wanting to retire and they get this, go to part-time instead of leave us altogether. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 12A, approval of the 2022-20 through the 2027 interlocal agreement for the use of the Denton County radio communication system with the city of Denton and any appropriate action.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 12B, approval of the 2022-2023 interlocal agreements for the use of the Denton County radio communication systems for the following agencies within Denton County: Lake Dallas Police Department, the Justin Police Department, and Fire Department. Motion by Commissioner Edmondson. Second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. There will be no action under 13A, no action. Let's go to 13B, approval of the United Way of Denton County Incorporated funding request to fulfill the allocation of American Rescue Plan for housing assistance, nonprofit assistance, and food assistance due to COVID-19 and any appropriate action.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 14A, approval of amendment number 1 to the NeoGov online service agreement between Denton County and GovernmentJobs.com Incorporated as recommended by Kevin Carr, Chief Information Officer. Motion by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 14B, approval of the 2022-2023 interlocal cooperation agreements for fire protection services between Denton County, Texas, and 1, the City of Denton Fire Department, and 2, the City of Louisville Fire Department, and any appropriate action.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mitchell, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 14C, approval of the 2022-2023 interlocal cooperation agreements for ambulance services between Denton County, Texas, and 1, the City of Denton Ambulance Services, and 2, the City of Louisville Ambulance Services.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is 14D, approval of the Denton County Commissioners Court resolution and letter requesting the town of North Lake to annex 1.157 acres portion of right-of-way of Dale Earnhardt Way and any appropriate action. Motion by Commissioner Edmondson, second by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We will not recess into executive session, but we will go to item 15B, which is the appointment, the personnel matters related to the employment evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a member of an advisory body with the Denton County Transportation Authority, DC State Board of Directors for the alternate position. And the chair will move to reappoint Jody Gonzalez as an alternate for a 2-year term. Motion by the chair, second by Commissioner Edmondson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, let's go to 17, which is community updates. Commissioner Williams.
No, sir, I have nothing to do.
All right. No updates. Commissioner, passing it on to Commissioner Mitchell.
I have a Corinth Eggs Extravaganza on March 25th in Corinth. On March 14th, Steam Club in Flower Mound. A Holly Festival in Flower Mound also on the 18th. On the 25th, annual father-daughter prom in Flower Mound. On the 27th, a Code Enforcement 101, Introduction to Property Standards in Flower Mound. That should be real good. And on March 13th, in Louisville at Layla, spring break camp. So for all the kids that's out of school during spring break, they can come out and enjoy this camp. It's $30 per day, $25 by registering for all week. Kids 7 to 12 years of age. March 14th, LISD High School Arts School at North Charles at the Grand Theater in Louisville. St. Patty's Texas Style in Louisville on March 18th. And a Thrive Nature Walk on March 19th in Louisville also. That's all I have.
All right. No updates. Commissioner Mitchell.
I have a Corinth Eggs Extravaganza on March 25th in Corinth. On the 27th, a Code Enforcement 101, Introduction to Property Standards in Flower Mound. That should be real good. And on March 13th,
Okay, great, Commissioner. Commissioner Edmondson.
Well, we have quite a bit going on in Precinct 4 as well. First of all, we have a Holly Color Celebration at the Senior Center on March 8th from 11 to 1. That's a traditional festival of holly celebrated in India and Nepal, and all of us are invited to that. Then there's a Garden Work Days at the Denia Wildflower Garden. That's on March 11th from 9 to 11, and it's said that this Garden Work Day will involve cutting back plants, picking up debris, and weeding. I have to tell you, when I was a kid growing up, I was subjected to weeding as a punishment. My mother would make me go weed the rose garden. So I guess some people enjoy that. Anyway, you're welcome to come and weed. On the 13th, we're going to have Shamrock Treasure in the Park, the Denton Civic Center. There will be clues on their social media pages, and you can find the pots of gold and take them to the Denton Civic Center for a prize basket. On the 13th, there's a teen outdoor adventure camp at the Denia Rec Center, and that's for ages 11 to 17. You can register online ahead of time. And then for those of us who really enjoy the sweet singing of the birds, on March 15th at the Clear Creek Natural Heritage Center, there will be a bird song camp, and you'll be introduced to the various bird songs and provide insight into how to recognize them. Lastly, over in Trophy Club on the 18th, we're going to have Touch a Truck. This is at Independence Park East, and kids of all ages, it's kids of all ages, not necessarily adults, can climb into the driver's seat and learn more about the equipment and even honk the horn of the fire trucks and police cars. So we hope that there's something for everybody here. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day on the 17th.
Perfect. Thank you for those reports. And I'd like to mention that, here at Denton County, we're helping to raise canned food, hygiene items, and medical supplies for seniors in need. And so we have donation boxes that have been placed in the lobby of the Precinct 3 Government Center in Louisville at 400 North Valley Parkway, and also here at the Administrative Courthouse downstairs in the lobby. So we would appreciate everybody's support of that. So it'll be going for a little bit longer. I want to give a big Denton County shout out to the City of Justin for receiving the Texas Economic Development Council's 2022 Economic Excellence Recognition Award. So that is great. So anyway, I want to give them a big shout out. I would like to remind the public that there will not be a Commissioners Court meeting on March the 21st in a couple of weeks, because we will be in Denton County Days in Austin. So that just want to let everybody know about that. All right, hearing no other business before the court, we are adjourned. Thank you all for being here.